Hello, everybody. My name is Angie Breidenbach with the International Institute of Genealogical Studies, found at genealogicalstudies.com. Today, we have a special guest with us, and we are delighted to have Donna Cox Baker. She is going to present to us detailed instruction on using Zotero, Zotero, a free online tool to manage your research findings. This is a follow-up to her original general overview, and you can find that if you are a student on our calendar inside the school. If you'd like to become a student and become a professional genealogist, or follow your own heart's interest in learning a particular subject in genealogy, you can find us at genealogicalstudies.com. Donna Cox Baker is the author of Guides for Learning Zotero, and she has several different books out, and we'll let her tell you a little bit more about that during her presentation. This is a tutorial lecture, and we look forward to hearing what you have to teach us. Take it away, Donna.
Thanks so much. Thanks for letting me come back. And in the handout, there is a link, I think, to the earlier program. And I would love for you to go back to that if you haven't seen it, because that's where I talk about why bother with Zotero. Why does this matter? And you'll see my passion. It matters so much if you're doing research. If you're going anywhere beyond the family tree, it matters that you have a place to store things, to organize, to analyze, to cite, and to always be able to find things, even if you put them in Zotero 18 years ago. And I am still using things I put in Zotero 18 years ago. So I am glad now to have the chance to come back and do a little bit of getting started. Now, I didn't, because we do need to do so much. There are things that I put into your handout that you can do on your own, like installing and some of the subcomponents that you want to install, because all of us will have different operating systems, and it could take all the time if we just want to get everybody installed. So I want to go straight to what you're going to see once you've got it installed, and that's where we'll go today. The handout also tells you where to get my book, if my latest book that is about Zotero 7. If you want to go deeper, if you like step-by-step and procedural things, that'll be of use to you. I learned Zotero without a book, and I'm sure you can too, if that's the way you like to learn. So, so it's a take it or leave it deal with the book. But if you like instructions, written instructions, it can be very helpful. All right, so I want to show you, without actually having reinstalled my software myself. I just got some print screens. So you'll see what you will see when you install. You're going to see a screen that looks like this. It's going to have a welcome message to you. This welcome message only lives as long as you don't have anything in Zotero. The minute you put in your first item, this is going away. But don't be afraid. I've put in the handout. The links that you're seeing on this screen are in your handout, so you can go back to them through that method. But the three things that they want you to be aware of as you come in is that they have a quick start guide. It's a very, tight nugget sort of thing that can be helpful if you want to know what very specific things are. And so you might want to bookmark that. Installing the Zotero connector. The connector is what takes a huge amount of work off you, because you can go out to the internet, find a book you like in many cases, and say, bring this citation into Zotero for me. So it is going to save you, hundreds of thousands of keystrokes over the years. So install the Zotero connector while you're at it, and then setting up syncing. I'm going to go to a couple of other screens. First, in the edit up in the top left, you're going to see settings. Now that's for PCs. If you're on Mac, I think yours is somewhere over in the corner. I don't do Mac, but I know that Mac has a very specific place that they put settings, and so yours will be there. But when you go into the settings, there are two things I want you to be very conscious of, because I get more email with confusion about this than anything. That's why I'm actually taking the time to even go into the settings. File handling, there are two things: automatically attach associated PDFs and automatically take snapshots of web pages. I've got a picture of this in your handout. Turn those off before you get started if you want to keep Zotero free. All right, and Zotero can be free forever. You can use it that way forever. I used it for 17 years that way. I absolutely love the paid version now. It's not that different, except that it just saves you time. So I want you to know that if you want this to forever be free, you can do that. But there are a couple of conveniences that you need to turn off here before they start to fill up the tiny 300 megabytes of free space you've got. Zotero is going to let you have all of your text free. When you're putting citations in, when you're typing notes, it's all free. It never counts against your storage. But once you get pictures, once you get attachments, maps, any of those things are going to count against storage. And that's where you either need to keep your things outside of Zotero that take up space, or bring them in and pay a very modest $10 a month. All right, so let's look one more thing. I encourage you to sync your data to Zotero. You don't have to, and if you're not comfortable with that, you certainly don't have to do it. But it will create a mirror, a constant mirror of everything you've got in there, and it will save your life if you have a crash of your system. Of course, I want you to back up and have backups, but their syncing is going to be up to the minute. I mean, up till the last maybe paragraph you typed is going to be there. It also allows you to go to multiple computers and have the same thing sitting there. So when I was, before I retired, I had a computer at work, I had a computer at home. Everything would always be in both places. Now I have a computer in the living room, one in my office, always in both places. But also you can have it on your phone. If you go to the library and use a public access computer, you can use what you've synced to come in and take a look. So I encourage you to do it. They will not ask you for a credit card unless you want the paid account. So you don't have to give over information like that. All right, so let's get to the workspace. And I may have gone through this in the first video, but I'm going to quickly remind you that you've got 4 panes in your main workspace. Over here on the left are your collections. This is where you organize things, folders. You put things, folders inside of folders. You get it the way you want it. The section here is like your library catalog. It's your list of all the items you have collected. For me, it's more than 10,000. And for you, you're going to be amazed at how quickly you can begin to fill your catalog. And then whatever you've clicked on in the middle, over here on the right is your detail about that. This is, let's see, citation information. Sorry. It's got collapsible tabs down here, so you can spread out information. You've got all sort of little icons on the right that allow you to expand on what you're looking at here. You can tag things, put subject headings, add notes, add the attachments, all sorts of things. So this is where the meat of everything is. Everything is has an item type. In this case, we're looking at a thesis, and what shows up in these fields depends on what kind of item type you've chosen. And then over here on the left is your tag, where your tag selector box. So if I only want to see the books that I own that I put in box 2 down in my basement, I click on that and there they are. If I want to see every item in this list that I actually possess. And it's not at somebody else's library, somebody else's archive, but I have a copy on hand. I can click my own hand tag and see whatever I own and know what book I need to buy and what book I don't need to buy for the 3rd time because I don't remember I have it. All right, so that's your main workspace. There's a reader that sits behind this that we'll look at in a second. I want to show you the Zotero connector because it is by far the most valuable thing. It's what sold me on Zotero in the first place. So I'm going to give you an empty folder so you can see how Zotero handles this. I've clicked on this folder called Work Folder over here. And this empty folder is where Zotero is going to put things that I find on the internet that I want in Zotero. Wherever you have, whatever folder you've clicked on, that's where it will put it. So that's just a key to not having to come in and do the filing later. Just be in the folder you want things to be in. All right, so I'm going to show you, I actually was going to show you 4 or 5 different ways to do this, but we'll save some of them for Q&A if necessary and just go to a couple so that we keep this from getting too long. But one place I get information that I want in Zotero, the citation information, is from Amazon. All right, so I am going to open, and that should have been over here, so I'm going to move it. Hopefully you're seeing Amazon, and you're seeing a book that a lot of us probably own, Genealogy Standards. So if I want to put that into Zotero, into my catalog, there is an icon up here on Amazon, and it's this little one that looks like a book in this case, because it sees a book on the screen. It knows, Amazon has its metadata visible. And Zotero, because that metadata is visible, knows it's looking at a book, and it knows all the details about the book that it needs to create the citation information. When I click on it, it tells me it's putting in that work folder. I'm going to go back to Zotero, and here it is. All right, so it has brought that in, and it has pulled in all the information that Amazon gave it. If Amazon's data is bad, this data is bad. So you do want to check behind whatever source is giving you this information that you do not have to type unless they've got it wrong. So that's pulling from Amazon. You can pull from your local library catalog. You can pull from JSTOR or some of the other databases that have scholarly articles in them, and it brings it in and puts the information it needs. You see, in this case, it's a book, so it has the things that feels that books need. I'm going to take you now to a site that does not allow Zotero to see its metadata, so you can see how that would look. We're going to Family Search. All right, so I had talked to Family Search about this about 5 years ago, and they were looking at it, but the fact that it has never been done makes me think that there is some reason that Family Search is not allowed or not able to allow their metadata to be visible to to offline sites like Zotero. But what you see up here is you have a Zotero link, but it says that it will save it as a website. If you're on top of it, it says web page with snapshot. It does not recognize that it's looking at a book. It cannot know that because it's hidden from it. So in that case, you still can send information into Zotero. It's just going to come in with what Zotero could interpret from what it saw. All right, so when I click on this, it's going also into the work folder. Hold on, there we go. But, well, did it? Still working on it, it looks like, for some reason. Sorry, guys, I'm not sure why this one's not going. It's done it 5 times today already. Maybe that's why. But what it's going to do when it finally finishes whatever is preventing it from coming in is it's going to bring it in as a web page. Let me see if it's just some other web page will come in here for me. Well, maybe just this main Family Search one. It looks like Family Search somehow is not allowing it to come out, and I apologize for that. Wait, it did. Here's the homepage. All right, so see, it created a web page, and the title of it is home because that's what Family Search calls it. It brings in the link for me, and that by itself is worth being able to do this, just to have it go ahead and create an item for you and bring in the link. Let's pretend we're back on that book, and you can click on the web page and you can say this is a book, and it will change the fields, but you still don't have to type that URL anymore. And you can fill in the details that it didn't put in. So this was, I think it was the story of Piedmont. So you can put that in. You can add the author. If you've got 2 authors, once you put the first one in, you can click a little plus here and put in multiple authors. You can change whether it's an author, a contributor, or an editor using clicking on the little label beside it. So you can put in all of that detail as needed and just save yourself the trouble of having to do that URL. So that's going to happen sometimes. I find that, I mean, WorldCat, if you use WorldCat, is open to Zotero. So almost any book you could possibly want is going to be in WorldCat somewhere. So you can go in there and let it do the typing for you. All right. Now, one other thing I want to show you is that you've got the option up here at the top. I'm going to click back on genealogy standards to decide what you want to see in this very top blank up here, since that's sort of dominant in your vision. You can say that you want to visit, you just want to see the title up there, or if you want to see a sort of running bibliography in progress, it'll show you that so that you can see if what you're adding is useful to what you're doing. I would recommend for any of you who use Evidence Explained, for reasons that I can't even begin to go into, I don't think Zotero will ever have an Evidence Explained style. It's just too bulky. It's too big for a computer database. And so what I do is I look at what Evidence Explained says I should have. Anything that's not showing here, I put it usually in this loc and archive field, because if I use Chicago Manual of Style as my main style in here, but anything that I would need in Evidence Explained that's not there, I tuck into loc and archive. Some people will just add a note to it and go ahead and form their Evidence Explained citation if they need to. I don't publish with Evidence Explained as my required style, so I do what my style is in the history field, which is Chicago Manual style. So I think you'll find that loc and archive is going to be your savior for all the details that you want to put in that don't have a field here. Okay, and now you also can look for books by their ISBN number right here. You click on this. I did that to do my whole home library. So I just pull books off the shelf, type in their ISBN number, and they're in Zotero. And then I say I'm putting it in box 3 and I tag it. So that's also a very useful way to put things in an automated way. Sometimes you're going to have to create things from scratch. You're going to have to put something in brand new that isn't going to come in from the internet for you. That's this button right here, the new item button. And it gives you all of the available item types. You click on the one that you want, if it's a book section, and then it asks you for the information that is usable in a book section citation. And as you fill that in. All right. Now, one thing you may see sometimes as you're doing this is that it brings in your title, your book title, with bad capitalization. Maybe it's all lowercase or everything but the first letter is lowercase. You can right click and say you want title case, and it's going to fix that for you. All right, so notes are what I do more than anything in Zotero is to create notes. I create notes on books I've found, on articles I've found, and those very normal things. But I also just make notes that are of use to me for any reason. And I mean, the paint on my wall, what color is it when I need to patch it up in 3 or 4 years? I can put my paint color in here. I mean, you can put notes about anything and come back to find them. If you're putting a note that isn't attached to a book, here's your button right here, and you can say you want a new standalone note. And it brings up this space over here. You can, if you want that note to be separate from Zotero, so it's a freestanding window you can move around, you can say edit in a separate window. Right now, I have a separate window with the script or the things I want to talk about. My outline is over here on another monitor, and it's a Zotero note. But if you're wanting to transcribe a handwritten document and you've got the image of the handwritten document, you can have a note over on the side and you can type your transcription. So notes can be used for so many things. And as you're using them, you have the ability to do a lot of formatting. If you know Markdown language to speed up formatting as you're typing. It takes markdown language. You can do subscripts, superscripts. You can change the color of the fonts. You can change the color of your highlights. You can erase all your formatting with this button. You can create a link to a web page inside your note. Or if you're typing along, sorry for the bad typing, but and you want to tell yourself in this note that there are other Zotero items that speak to what you just typed, you can actually use this button right here. And Zotero will bring up a little window into its whole database, and you can say, that this was, just say it's Baker for one of my things, and it will bring up everything that I've typed. Excuse me, that I've published and put in here, and I can say it's page 215 and hit enter, and it will then show me that there is another place for me to go for more information about what I just typed. If you're typing a summation that you're drawing from multiple things that you've got in Zotero, there's 5 different things you've got in Zotero that are helping you to make a determination that something is true, and you type what is true, you can put the 5 different sources beneath it as your evidence for why that thing is true when you need to come back to it. So there are a number of things with notes that you can do. Now, if you want that note to be attached to a particular thing, like let's say that this note matches the genealogy standards, it's something I got out of that, you can drag it in there and now it becomes a child note of that item. Or you can right click and say add note and do it that way. Or up here say new item note. So there are multiple ways to do just about everything. You can add as many notes as you want too. And your notes can be hugely long. I tested it one day, and when I got to 400,000 characters, which is basically a full book, it was still letting me put more notes in. The thing is, Zotero syncs in chunks. All right, so a note is a chunk. And by syncing in chunks, it doesn't have to sync its entire database every 3 seconds to make sure you're up to date. It just syncs the last chunks you changed. So if your chunk is 400,000 characters long, it's going to freeze for a few seconds while it syncs it. So every time you're typing new stuff in there, it's freezing. So keep your notes a reasonable length, but you'll be surprised at how long a note can go before you ever see it starting to sync on you and your typing stops showing. But the notes are, they're your work on top of what you're bringing in, what you understand, what you value of what you've read. Okay, now attachments. Attachments are incredibly important because there are so many things you may actually want to own in Zotero. You may actually want the copy held. So you saw something in a library, but you may want an actual copy of the article, an actual copy of a book. You might want a map. There are many things that enhance your work that you might want to hold on to. When I was working on my dissertation way back, Google Books had tons of books that had been digitized out of Harvard and Yale. And because I like to collect things, I collected them, not knowing that Google Books, soon after I got my dissertation, was going to come under a lawsuit where it couldn't show those books anymore. All right, so had I gone with the philosophy, this will always be here for me when I need it, I'll just have the link, I wouldn't have some of those things available to me now. So collecting things as you go is one of the things that's great about attachments. Now, as I mentioned earlier, attachments are what take up space. So if you are trying to keep Zotero free, your attachments need to live outside of your Zotero database. They will act just like they're in it, but they will live on your hard drive. Wherever you decide to put them, whatever you decide to name them, you can create a link. So if I want to create a link here to genealogy standards, and I can click up on this button right here and say I want to, sorry, what's going on? I think I got it confused. I'm going to do it right here. Right click on it and say add attachment. and I'm going to say linked file. Okay. And then you go out and find where you have it on your drive. I just happen to be in downloads. That's not where you would want to keep these things for the long term. But I click on a PDF, I say open, and you see it attached it in. And because I said attach it as a link, it's got a little chain link on top of it that says this isn't really sitting in Zotero. Most of the time, you won't know the difference when you're working in these PDFs. If you're sitting at your computer, you're not going to know the difference. If you go to the public library and you're using a public access computer, you can't get to that PDF because it's sitting at home. If you embed it in Zotero instead, it goes with you. Now, one of the inconveniences, of course, of having it outside of Zotero is you've given it an address. And if you decide to rearrange things on your hard drive or to rename things because you found new information or you see a typo, you break the link. All right. So not breaking links is one of the great reasons for paying the $10 a month. But quite honestly, most of you will be satisfied with free unless you, like me, are just thirsty for every second that you can save. And this saves time if you have things embedded into Zotero. You don't have to make a decision about where you're going to store something or what you're going to name it. Zotero does that for you. There is something though, if you're going to do free with Zotero, please either go to Zotero's website. There's a link I put about the base directory that can change things and make sure that you're securing your data for when your computer crashes someday or needs to be replaced someday, to make sure that when you get a new computer that might have some kind of nuance about naming the path to something, that you will be able to make sure that all your data can still work with Zotero. So read up on that, or in my book, there's a section about how to do that. My book will guide you through the landmines if you make some choices that have to do with storing those things outside the system. So just look through that before you get too deeply into your research. While you're experimenting, no big deal. But as you start to put lots of things in, you want to be sure you're making the right decisions. All right, so Zotero Reader is something that just got added in the last few years. Let me shrink this a tiny bit because I can't see it behind the. All right. I've got a big black thing on top of mine. I'm not sure if you guys are seeing it. Oh, there it goes. Okay. You've got any kind of PDF that you've opened up to read, or EPUB file, or if you're collecting the snapshots of any web page you go to, they can be read in this other layer that's behind the main layer. So I'm going to click on this one and show you a document that a transcription of a Supreme Court document that I needed to grab a lot of information about a woman. And it tells me so much about her family and her timeline that I ended up highlighting more than you would ever imagine. But in this reader, you can take all kinds of notes. You can take general notes. You can do your specific highlights, adding things that you want to say about it. And there are side panes. The left pane over here that I clicked and it shows up is showing you everything I've highlighted, everything I typed in as my own little note. And then over here on the right is another pane that you can show or not show that will give you the detail, that same citation information you're used to, or you can add notes to it. And if you want to do general notes about something, with these, you also have the ability to say what color you want a note to be. And it's color coding down here. So let's say that some of the highlights you're doing are things you need to go put in your family tree software. And you might make that highlight green. Maybe blue means something else and yellow means something else. And then you can just say, I just want to see my yellows, or I just want to see the blues. I need to see what I need to put into my family tree software. So you can color code those. When I was in graduate school, one of the most important things was being able to get a summary of a book I've read, just narrowing down to what really mattered to me in the book. So all of these are sort of doing that. They're capturing what mattered to me in the book. And I can create a note over here that blends them all together. So let's see. I can say an item note. I can click the plus sign and then say add item notes from annotations. And it goes and it pulls them all in so that they will, from that point forward, I have a summation of that book. If I just need to, I'm studying for comps or whatever, I can quickly go through everything that mattered to me in that book. All right. So let me see. Oh, I wanted to say one thing about web snapshots. It will take that picture, a picture of a web page. Let me just quickly go to, how do I make this thing go away again? Not sure the black thing that I'm seeing in the way. Let me go to my main website. If I want to be able later to see what that actually said on the day I looked at it, not what it says 2 years later when I am trying to get certified for something or I'm trying to publish in the Journal of American History and they want an actual picture of the website that was the way it was that day. When I do the Zotero connector, it will take a picture from me because I am not on the free version. If you're on the free version, it cannot do that. Pictures take up space in Zotero, but that could be a reason to be worth the $10 a month. And that's what first made me think I'm going to do the paid version, is that it will take a picture and it's not like a screen print. It's actually the picture of the HTML code. So it looks exactly as it did on the screen. But if you've got to justify that that site said something then that it doesn't say now, you have the picture of what it was like then. So one other reason to consider doing a paid version, but it would be just like this. It would come in and you can mark it up just like you do anything else. So a great addition that came with Zotero 7. All right, so I did want to make one other note. The annotations that you see here, the notes you take, they live in Zotero. They don't live with your PDF. So if your PDF is sitting outside on your hard drive, when you open it in here to view it, you see all of the highlights and everything. But if you were to open it outside of Zotero, it would look exactly the way it looked when you started. If you need what's in Zotero to be usable outside of it, you can export it and all the notes will go with it. But it's part of the efficiencies of syncing that you don't want to sync an entire PDF every time you add a new note. You want it to be able just to do these in the little nuggets. So it's part of its efficiency that those notes live in Zotero and not, you don't have an entire PDF that keeps getting bigger and having to be synced all together. Searching. All right, and once again, okay, there we can see it. There are a couple of ways to search. I already showed you that you could search, I think, inside a note that was in the note thing. But if you're searching for a folder name, here's your marker right here to do that, and it will show you everywhere that you put that. So if the name Mayberry is here, it also shows you every folder it's embedded in to get down to it. And then, of course, you can just click on it and go to it too. So that's for the names of folders. Everything else is right here. And let me go back up to the top. If you're inside a folder, it will only search inside the folder. If you're in my library, it's searching your entire library. You can search just titles, creators, year. You can search just fields and tags. And by the way, if you've got a freestanding note, this is where you need to search for it, or this, not this, because it doesn't have a formal title in the system. And if you're searching every word of everything that you've got, you can search everything. A lot of times that's going to bring up way more options than you want. So refining it can help. Your advanced search allows you really to get to narrow down the thousands of things to a few things that you want. So if you are looking for something that had Mayberry in the title and that's still too many, but you remember that it was a newspaper article, you can click this plus sign. Oh, I apparently clicked it 3 times. You can say, I want an item type of newspaper. And it narrows down your subject. And you could even say, I want newspaper articles before 1850. So you can get your advanced search as sophisticated as you want to narrow things down. And when you haven't seen something in 10 years, sometimes that's the only way to find it. You vaguely remember it, and that will help you get there. And I'm going to wrap up with citations. I have no idea how far I've gone over time. I hope not too badly, but with citations, some people just don't use them, but some of us have to use them all the time, and this is a godsend for that. Let's say that you want to send somebody a bibliography of sources that relate to some topic. I've got this folder over here called Jacksonville, Alabama. I can search the whole, I select the whole thing, right click and say create bibliography from items. And then I pick the style I want, Chicago Manual style. I'm looking for bibliographic information and I want to copy it to the clipboard. Say okay. Go over to Microsoft Word and paste it in, and I've got a bibliography in alphabetical order. All right, and so that's one real quick way to do multiple items. Let's say, though, that we want to do something in Ancestry or Family Tree Maker. Now, I used to try to play well with other software and fill in the blanks that Ancestry wanted or fill in the blanks that Family Tree Maker wanted for a citation. I have found that just counterproductive because Zotero is where I live. This is where my citations matter most to me. It's where I publish from. So I go, let's say I'm going to let's see, let me go to this item. I've got a dissertation here, Jacksonville, Jack Boozer's thesis. I'm going to right click and do the same thing, create bibliography, the style, copy the clipboard, bibliography. Go over to Ancestry. And let's say on page 29, this speaks to her parentage or her parentage of another person. The way I'm going to create the source in here to make it efficient, useful, efficient, but not reinventing the wheel is I have one source called See Detail. And in detail, I paste that bibliography. That bibliographic reference. I probably should have first said, I'll do like page 29 and then that. If it's too long to fit, I'll put something down in transcription or other. And then I attach it to what matters. It's about her name and her parental connection. Click submit. And then somebody coming along behind me or me coming along behind me, when I see what was your evidence for the parental connection, I can come up here, click view, and me or anybody else looking at this can figure out there's a dissertation at the University of Alabama. If you're doing a citation in Word, let me get rid of what we just put in. This will have been put in, Zotero will have put in an add-on right here in your word processor. If your word processor is on your computer when Zotero is installed, and you can quickly, this is my sentence just to be quick on this. You're writing a sentence you need to back up with a reference. Go to Zotero, click add edit citation. The first time you do it, it's going to want to know what your style is. After that, it's not going to ask that again, but it's going to bring up Zotero's little window. It's going to show you the last things you had open because it assumes you probably are looking in Zotero, you're looking at the item that you're citing. And you can just click it, say, page 29, click enter, and it creates your footnote down here. If I were to do that again with the same source, it would do the shortened version. It knows what to do. And then once you have created multiple items, let's do one more. And let's say this time I need something I'm not seeing in the things I recently looked at. Let's say Zotero for genealogy. I just type a few letters and it's going to go out and it's going to find it in Zotero's database. I click on it and I say it's page 215. I click enter and now it's got that. When I'm ready to do a bibliography, sorry, I forgot to mute my phone. All right, so when I'm ready to do a bibliography, I can just say add edit and it finds everything that I put in and it creates the bibliography for me. All right, so those are to me the most essential things that I needed to share with you to say you're getting started. If you have questions that you need for me to have Zotero open with, I can continue to share, or if we're done with this and you need to see me face to face, I can stop sharing. What would you like me to do, Angie?
Share for the moment. Um,
Okay.
and we can always go off and chat, but you were in the beginning and how you got that link to show up. It went right past me. Where did you put the link in the center? The Zotero link.
I am okay. So in the very center, you said the Zotero link. Oh, you're talking about when I pulled something in from Zotero Connector? Okay, let me go back to that folder. Actually, we don't have to. We'll just bring something in at the top. All right, so I went to a website. I think in this case it was Amazon, which I may not have opened now. There it is. And there was an item here that I want to put into Zotero. I clicked on this little button here in the top. Is this what you were talking about? I
Oh,
click
that
on that. That
I
is?
not it. No. You were in Zotero and on your
Okay.
notes area.
Okay.
You said, and I clicked this link and I was like, where'd she go? I didn't see where that went. I'll go back and watch the video and catch up with it because it went by really quick. So I was,
Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, I can't remember. I talked about creating one, but I can't remember what else I might have said that
I'll go back and watch.
very
Um,
possible I didn't finish the sentence too.
no,
So
you did. You totally did. It was just the click brought up the Zotero link in the center section. You were in the notes area and I didn't see where you went to bring that up.
okay.
So,
Okay. Oh, yes. Okay. Great.
um, the other question I had was if you go back from paid Zotero to free Zotero, do you lose everything you've saved? So if you've saved files and attachments and things, would you then be able to download those to your computer before you went back to the free and then
Yeah.
it?
Yes, you would never lose anything because everything is on your computer. All right, when I talk about your hard drive, having linking out to your hard drive, you really do still have everything that's in Zotero is on your hard drive inside Zotero's database. But if you're linking out to PDFs, they're in another place on your hard drive. But if Zotero folded up tonight, never to be seen again, you have everything. All right, so you have the programs, you have the data. You could use it for as long as computers would function with the old Zotero programs. And there are so many computer programmers around the world that would instantly step in to make sure that we could still use Zotero. It's being used by universities all over the world. That I have no fear of ever losing any of it. The one thing, let's see. No, if you went from paid to free, you wouldn't be able to sync anymore because you've got too much in it. You would have to move things out to be able to sync again. But you would have everything. And if you don't want to sync at all, you can actually probably act in Zotero pretty much like you have a paid account. You just don't have the protection of anything going out. If you're not syncing to Zotero, how big things are in your system doesn't matter to Zotero. So you could act like like you could embed everything in if you're not syncing out. So
Okay,
that's something to think about as well.
perfect. Sue's asking, is that icon in Amazon? So where you were, what you thought I was asking you, go back there
Okay.
to in Amazon.
Oh, yeah.
And she's saying, is that icon in Amazon an extension? I'm in Canada and I didn't see that icon to copy the info about a book with book displaying in Amazon. I want to
Glad you asked about that. Yeah, I'm glad you asked because when you install the connector, some browsers are not going to put the icon up until you tell them it's okay. And that has to happen in Chrome. I think I put something in your handout about it that you might be able to find later. But when you go to extensions in Chrome, manage extensions, you find Zotero, and when you click on details, there's a place where it says pin to toolbar.
Mm.
So it used to default to that. It often does not now. And I'm hoping those in Canada will just find that you can click on that and it shows up after that. If not, if you have any problems, I've got an email address on the handout and I am open to any questions you guys have, or you can go to Zotero's forum and ask questions straight to programmers. So if, because I haven't tried this outside of the US. I know that people are using it all over the world and that most of the programmers actually live in countries all around the world as well. So I think you'll find that it's very international friendly.
So pinned toolbar once you're inside the extension of Chrome. Have you used
Yes, that's
it
correct.
on Safari or DuckDuckGo?
I haven't tested it on DuckDuckGo. I've used it on Safari. I think I've used it on Opera. Actually, Zotero was originally designed for Safari back when all you had is that's all it was an add-on to Safari. So it works well with that. But I think that DuckDuckGo is prominent enough that I think it would work there. Although I know that DuckDuckGo has a lot of privacy stuff. I don't know if that changes anything. But it probably works pretty much the same way. I've never heard anybody complain about it.
I've used it a little bit on both Safari and Chrome, had to do the extensions and things like that. But I'm just starting to use DuckDuckGo again. When it first started, it wasn't very robust. It wasn't super helpful. I'm finding it super helpful now. It's had a few years under its belt, so I'll try it on that and maybe re
Right.
and Yecheskel says it does work with Brave. That's great to
All
know.
right. I haven't tried that one.
Yeah, I've got Brave too. So I have a lot of different browsers, and I
Yeah.
suggest this for students to have a lot of different browsers for your computer because certain websites work better, certain plugins work better on certain browsers. So
Yes.
if you're not getting it to work, originally with the school site, the calendar numbers would mangle on Safari. Our IT
Ah,
team has worked it so that it's better. But if you're on your iOS on your phone, doggone numbers still mangle on Safari. So, you might want to open it in DuckDuckGo or you might want to open it in Brave or Chrome. So
yes.
I have additional browsers on my phone, my iPad, and my computer, and I suggest that for students.
Right.
What other questions do folks have? This was fantastic, Donna.
Oh, I'm glad you found it helpful. Do you want me to stop sharing?
Sure, unless they come up with a question, and then you can share again.
Okay. There we
Yeah.
go.
So, tell us the title of your book again, please.
The most recent one is a quick guide to Zotero 7. The earlier ones were on Zotero 5, so I don't really I mean, they have some information great for genealogy, and so I've marked them down to like $5, but they're not the best place to learn the new version of Zotero. They're good for some ideas about genealogy, but yeah, go for the new one.
Awesome. And where did you publish the new one? Where is it available at?
It's pretty much everywhere. It's on Amazon and all the other online bookstores. There is also, I have a Gumroad site that you can get to through my genohistory.com website if you want to go directly and get it directly from me. I don't send paper. I got out of the business of sending paper books. So if you want a paperback, Amazon or one of the other sites. Yeah.
Terrific. And the
Yes.
cost is US dollar, assuming, and then people will have to exchange that into their own currency. But what's the cost for your latest book?
I'm not sure.
I know books are different prices
I
depending.
know. And by the time they take out what all the different fees along the way, I am really not sure. I want to say,
That's okay.
well, yeah, actually, I should have gone in through my own website too. Are there any others while I'm looking for that?
Any other questions? We had quite a few people show, so I've got a whole long line of people that have been watching.
Well,
Um,
going into my website reminded me, if you go to generalhistory.com, I have free content. I have some videos about just specific little things like how to create your own home library and things in Zotero. So you might want to look there for some more content as well. And the paperback book is $18. Kindle is $9.99.
Perfect. Okay. And Sue says in Canada, the price is $9.99 for Kindle and $24.99 for paperback because we have, of course, the exchange rate. And then
Yeah.
Jessica says, and Donna has a forum to ask questions too, and that's on genohistory.com, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
But feel free to just contact me personally too. So
I did a little test with my Word doc while you were talking, and I brought it up. And I don't know whether I had Word open when I installed Zotero, but the Zotero icon does show up. In order for that to show up, I actually have to activate the app in my computer before it shows up. But what I mean by that is that I'm on a Mac and there's all the different apps that you can open and close as you would on
yes,
your phone, that kind of thing. So when I
yes,
open Zotero, then the icon shows up in my Word document, and I have had some great ideas now for how to
good.
um, start with Zotero because that was the big
Yeah,
overwhelming thing from looking at this as what it can do. Your mind
yeah,
is crazy, and it's like that's overwhelming. You broke it down,
yeah.
understand it a lot better.
Right. I keep finding more and more creative ways. So it's so flexible. You can just use it for what works for you. So
I love that.
even if it's just your home library, just a catalog of your home library, you know.
Oh, now you just gave me a whole nother idea.
There's a few Saturdays.
Right? Oh my gosh. If you're
I
like,
moved all most of my home library is in the stacks in my basement now. It's all in boxes, but it's all in Zotero with the box number as a tag. So that was my way of being able to get the dust out of my house with every wall covered with books. So
oh
so
my,
there's something, and they're easier to find in the boxes now.
I absolutely love that you said that because I think somebody who is moving and and somebody that is uh doing anything that like maybe they're remodeling their house and they have to put things into a box. This is absolutely brilliant. I love
Yeah,
it because it's not just, I mean, yes, it's for us, our purposes for genealogy, but I absolutely love this idea of being able to organize your home with Zotero, and it will then
yeah,
organize your genealogy because if you're like me, you'll get it out of two offices and closets.
exactly.
So thank you.
Sure.
If there's not any other questions, if you have ideas or needs that you want with Zotero, we could invite Donna back. And so just let us know and feel free to email me at Angie@genealogicalstudies.com if you need to know anything else for how we could maybe have her back. And please visit Genohistory, GenoHistory.com to find Donna Cox Baker.